The ones who presented before, can you tell me which is best, PDF or PowerPoint?
I uploaded a PowerPoint, but PDF sometimes is a smaller file. That's all. So if you have an external link video, it's best that you use PowerPoint, I guess. If not, it's just images. I think they are just work fine, both of them.
PDF doesn't work, then we can. Oh, but it is also taking time. We didn't consider that. Maybe in the meantime.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. Actually, I thought that it's at 4, not at 3, because apparently Berlin changed it to summertime. I'm trying to change my camera setup. Why the fuck this doesn't exist?
Second day of presentations of the network nodes. We are listening, hearing, and watching the presentations of Kounaktif from Casablanca, then TAH project from Shiraz, amberPlatform from Istanbul, and Bishkek Contemporary from Bishkek. And now we are starting with Yusuf from Kounaktif.
Ekmel, can you please tell me how to share the screen, because I can't find the like you did only charging presentation and
it is next to the camera sign when you are presenter.
Ah, okay. Yes, right. All right, perfect. I think now is good. Do you see, right? Perfect.
Yes, yes, we see.
Okay, I can go ahead. Do you hear me well? Everything is going okay. Perfect. So yeah, my camera actually have trouble, so I think we will do just with the sounded presentation. Welcome everyone, and sorry for the delay due to changes in time, etc. So today I'm gonna present you the Kounaktif as a creation node belonging to the amberNetworkFestival. We are really glad to be part of the network after presenting our series of talk and exhibition showcased the last week. We're now gonna present more or less how Kounaktif was created. We're gonna give context about before Kounaktif, who we are, our DNA and values, and about our creation programs, our 2 cycles that we did, and what changed more or less during the lockdown, what we added, etc. Something about the collaborations, and eventually our team members, who they are, and who are the people actually behind the Kounaktif dynamic. So first of all, before Kounaktif, like there was a collective that was created during my first year of master degree in cultural and artistic engineering. We were 4 people. There was Yusuf Azawi, myself, Yasser Benhar, and Marwan Youssoufi. Like it all began in during an art residency in La Ruche with an NGO called l'Atelier l'Observatoire. Like we applied as a collective. Our first project was named Rasarat Project, and it was on the memory of a place in Casablanca, because the NGO work on the collective memory of the city of Casablanca, and this art residency was within this framework. So we tried to collect and investigate the different aspects of this side of the city. So we made the 4 art installation, mixed between sound, installation, audiovisual, etc. So these pictures are the result of this art residency. Like there was a flash of l'archive. There was a lot of picture portrayed as an old artifact that some sort we find here in the streets of Casablanca, mostly in the popular areas. Here there was like it was some sort of memory card that we generally use, and it was stocked as some sound memory of the area itself. And this piece was some sort of illustration of the areas of this place, like the doors of this space was portrayed like this, and we made it like some sort of play field of, I don't know how to translate it. It's called B. Like it was a game that we used actually to play when we were kids, and the whole idea was to portray the way that this area of the city was a playground for colonial architects, mostly for French architects, because they were testing different ways of building and different ways of creating new city. So the particularity of this side of the city called the Enshok was that from above you can see it as a linear architectural site, but in the field ground, when you are underground, you feel that it looks like an old Medina. So we tried actually to portray it to this artwork, and there was another audiovisual artwork playing with the places that no longer existed in that area. So this is more or less like the context in which Kounaktif arose, like before even the creation of Kounaktif as such, like there was this artistic collective. Then later on, a lot of members joined and others left. So the idea was growing more or less slowly, but surely. Like we tried actually to create some sort of art lab, but the idea more or less arose. So Kounaktif now is a cultural platform that aims to create a space for sharing knowledge and know-how, for the weaving of social link through arts and culture, and to the development of creative and critical skills in the fields of visual arts, music, philosophy, sciences, agriculture, new media, and do-it-yourself practices. These practices are perceived as tools of resistance against imposed realities, subtle tools of expression that promote social innovation, autonomy, and community resilience. After 2 years or 2 years and a half, more or less, like we tried actually to identify what is the DNA of Kounaktif, because it was actually pretty hard to identify the DNA before doing any experimentation and working with the people, working with the artists, and working with the researcher, etc. So after this 2 years and a half, we identified the DNA of the Kounaktif, and it's basically the symbiosis between art, technology, and ecology, since this is the main framework and the main theme that we investigate during our cultural productions and cultural programs. And we work through creation, education, and diffusion. The side of creation, we create through it like our artists and different artists that we invite in our exhibitions, etc. Education is mostly through the open laboratories that we make and participative workshop, and the diffusion through our music concerts, exhibitions, tutorials, etc. So our philosophy, we always work with instead of working on. We highly promote collective intelligence and cooperation through our programs of roundtables, discussion, tutorials, exhibition, creative laboratories, participative workshops, and music concerts with open mics. So in Kounaktif, we believe in the power of the art to transmutate values, transform societies, and give a voice to the voiceless. Since the creation of the collective, we have been doing cultural and artistic actions with citizens, artists, and researchers. Our main missions are to democratize access to artistic practices, promote cutting-edge artistic creation, and raise awareness about social, environmental, and political issues through art. So the collective main values and principles are mainly solidarity, autonomy, interdependence, and freedom. Like this is more or less the main value that we believe in as a collective, and which are trying to promote implicitly and explicitly through our various programs, because we think that we as a collective are a reflection of the collective or the society as a whole. So we are trying to embody these principles in order to share them or to promote them on a larger scale. So this is basically about the values and the DNA of the collective. Now I'm gonna tell the story about how it all began with the first events, etc. So the first cycle was on art and society and how they are entwined and how they are connected and correlated. What is the role of art and what is the role of the artist in society? Does it have to have a role in the first place? Like, does the artist is supposed to make his art for social change, or it can be something else, like art or art for aesthetic or something else? So this first cycle of programs was composed of roundtable and discussion. Like our first event was held in November 2018. And it was an open discussion in a public space, where many people, mostly interested by art, by philosophy, by critical thinking, and eventually just like the general public or the general audience, were part of this discussion. And it was in collaboration with a collective named Opium Philosophy. Like it's a club. It's a club that is that belongs to a university named La Sorbonne in France that you probably know. So there was this young collective named Opium Philosophy that created each semester a publication around philosophical themes that we tried actually to formulate the question and formulate the axis of intervention with them. And this is there were 3 representatives of the collective here that we see in these pictures. Later on, there was another roundtable that we invited Moulim Laroussi, which is a critic and philosopher of aesthetic and generally like philosopher of art, where we tried actually to understand more about the history of of Moroccan art history, like how it was developed, and if we need to create any art history proper to Moroccan developments, not actually going through the usual Western paradigms where we find generally like the classical, the modern, and the contemporary. So Moulim Laroussi developed his own view on the Moroccan art scene, mostly through painting and photographies, etc. Later on, we made also music concerts and open mics. Like it had more or less like double objective, like at the same time create an event where people can gather and connect with each other through artistic creation, at the same time giving the general public possibility actually to express themselves, and like if they are practicing rap, or they are poets, or they are making or lyrics or anything like that, they could have just sign and join us. So there was really like very emotional moments where actual parents came with their kids asking us if they can also play. It was a very enjoyable moment. And at the same time, since from our first days we were financially autonomous, we tried actually to make some sort of financial autonomy, and it was mostly like through this music concert, like there was some small fee that people actually needed to pay in order to join in, so we can make it at the same time accessible to the general public and people who cannot necessarily afford to be in this part of this event, and at the same time create some sort of budget that will allow us to be still existent and create more events in the future. So these are pictures from the music concerts. Later on, after doing the roundtables, discussions, and the 2 days open laboratory of creation, production, and experimentation, and it was mostly many participative workshops and open laboratories on do it yourself practices, like how can we create food, how can we recycle plastic, etc. Music production like there were other disciplines such as theater, drawing, coding, graffiti, vegan recipes, and some discussions on some life hacks. And these are some picture about these events. So through these 2 days, we literally tried actually to portray our future society. That's why actually there was this multidisciplined and transdisciplinarity of many artistic practices, like combining food, combining the do-it-yourself practices, gardening, etc. Because it's for us like it's very necessary actually to décloisonner. I don't know how to say it in English, like to go out from the borders that people actually have put when it comes to disciplines, when it comes to sciences, when it comes like the borders that we find ourselves in, like this the specialization of any art practice. Like we tried actually to mix this many art practice into one place, so we can find many people who are interested in this different area to help them at the same time learn more about these practices, and at the same time to connect with each other through these art practices. So these are some pictures of this open laboratory. This was the open laboratory of graffiti, and drawing, like how can we draw typography, etc. This was a discussion on colonialism and our Amazigh root and how they are interrelated, etc. It was made by a collective named Tilila. This was also an open expression wall in collaboration with Luzine, which is a cultural structure in the periphery of Casablanca. This was from the open do-it-yourself laboratory, which was consisted basically on how can we create a studio made like for photography, but with accessible tools, not necessarily very expensive tools. And another thing that I didn't mention, that it was about the public that we targeted more or less, or that we intended to collaborate with, was generally from the periphery of Casablanca. That's why we generally collaborated with peripheral structures, like cultural structures. Like it was at first Luzine, and later on it was with the space named Sidi Moment, because the whole point actually was to decentralize our the cultural production, because generally what we find here in Casablanca, and probably on most of the spaces all around the world, was the cultural production is centered within a center. Like it's either within the big cities, like we find, for example, within the big cities when it comes to the global scale of a nation, and generally within this city we find that it is in this center of this city and not on the periphery. So we tried actually to go within the periphery of the city and to promote our values and our artistic and cultural productions. Later on, the second cycle between 2019 and 20 was around art and technology, and as usual, like our creation program consisted first on roundtables and projects and discussion, which consisted on creating an open discussions with citizens, with researchers, with artists, on what is the relation and interrelation between technology and art, how they intersect, how technology can serve art or the opposite. So at first we organized the first event in an open public space, like it was a coffee named Le Store, where mostly it's full actually of very young people. So it was that's why actually we should have chosen actually this space, because generally it's full of Gen Z and Gen Y and like our generation and the previous generations. So we made projections of vulgarizing videos that explain the interrelation between art and technology, mostly in the modern time, in 2021. Later on, we made a discussion with a cultural operator and artist named Saad Afifi, who is mostly VR and 3D in his art practice, and Salah Mellouli, who is a cultural operator and artistic and art director of a festival named Barabara, which is mostly targeting graffiti, but he was also actually the founder of a collective named Open Thaqafa. Like this Open Thaqafa was trying actually to make knowledge accessible, but the project actually, it was ephemeral, so it didn't last much, so we don't have enough documentation on it, unfortunately. But the whole point actually was to invite these two people, who are actually one doing cultural production and the other who is an artist, and to have actually their opinion on the intersection on technology and art, to have different views and the different approaches to the same actual theme. Later on, samely, we made music concerts with local artists and local DJ. So it has also the same purpose, actually, to make a small budget in order actually to continue our activities and make our our annual open laboratory that we make each year, and at the same time actually connect people and connect people that are less likely actually to connect, because the whole point of these various activities is to open borders between the various activities, because there are some people actually who are more interested in the roundtable discussion and the intellectual side of what we do, and others who are more akin to the entertainment or to the musical side of what we do. So the idea actually is to mix this sort of people and promote more hybridization of society. Later on, we launched we were fortunate because it was in 2020 and it was in February, like literally 1 month or less before the general lockdown here in Morocco. So we were a bit lucky because it was our last physical event that we held. Later on, like it was, and the target of this open laboratory was samely like we were more focusing actually on the interconnection between art and technology and the practices that are connected between both, like such as generative art, creative coding, robotic, and sculpture, and how can we mix it with interactive art such as Arduino, etc., graffiti, gardening, and music. So this was after the first. This picture is after the first. After the 2 days workshop of creative coding, like the participant were presenting their results of what they could have been doing after these 2 intensive workshops. These are pictures of from the gardening workshop, where the facilitator tried to make from a recycled material alternative way actually to water the earth. I don't know how to water the soil. I don't know actually how to express this in English, because most of this in my head is in French. So I'm really sorry for the bad English. These are from the robotic workshop, where the facilitator tried to introduce people how can they create a simple robot using simple formulas. How can this robot follow some simple itinerary? Later on, this workshop on the left was about sculpture and at the same time robotics. Like it was at first the facilitator and artist Mustafa Biga was creating some sort of interactive art. So they were trying actually to simulate a heart through sculpture, and later on add technological devices such as Arduino in order to make it beat, literally beat. So it's a bit creepy and at the same time fun, because most of the participants here were kids from the periphery of Casablanca, from Sidi Moumen. Samely, this was from the workshop of creative coding. It was pretty amazing because they were kids. According to artist / facilitator Ines Belixir, who were facilitating this workshop, they were very attracted actually to this, like to creative coding, which is pretty odd, because most of people actually think that creative coding or coding in general cannot be reserved to kids, while we showed that there is the opposite. This is this in the left was the result of how can we create a do-it-yourself studio from accessible resources. Like it was more or less like the continuity of the first workshop that we did the year before. And on the right, it was an open wall for expression. And later, the artist facilitator Mehdi Zmouri, with the help of our designer and artist, like who is among us in Kounaktif, Omar, we tried actually like they make this graffiti wall of Kounaktif portraying our edition on art and technology. So yeah, after that, during the lockdown, like we had, as many of us cultural operator and artists, we tried actually to adapt to the virtualization of artistic production, but we were more or less ready because we already had the intention to go virtually and to occupy also the virtual space, not only the physical one. So we launched a first jet of a virtual concert. We didn't know actually what to expect, so we just launched instead of making it physical because it was no longer possible. We made a musical concert virtually. Like we invited many artists to make their DJ set or live act, etc. And people were present to comments. It was pretty weird for us because like one of our main objective and mission is to connect people to art and culture. And actually people were commenting through this DJ set and live act. It was pretty intense, weird. We didn't know actually how to handle this, because at the same time we were glad because it was working. At the same time, this wasn't the way actually we were picturing musical concerts. And at the same time, we launched a new series of tutorials because we were intending to make a workshop at this in this time, but we tried actually to convert this format from workshop to tutorials. So we launched a new concept called Active Skills, which is a series of creative tutorials through which we seek to bring artistic techniques closer to the general audience, making these techniques more reachable. Because we go through the principle that knowledge has to be accessible to everyone in a context where the Moroccan public system fails in its mission. Like short notice, the Moroccan educational system is very it is literally one of the worst educational system in the world, which is pretty weird because generally we don't promote this kind of informations. And generally, like lately, there was a lot of protests from teachers here in Casablanca and Rabat, and it was received very badly from the police, etc., because they were beating them, etc. So it's pretty intense nowadays when it comes to education and the educational system, because the government is trying slowly to privatize this educational system by making contracts with the teacher instead of making them employable like for a whole period. So they tried actually to change the system into more private system. So it's a way for the government actually to leave any responsibility when it comes to this, like when it comes to actual educational system and eventually even to the health system. But this is another subject. So we contribute rather to make doses. So it's basically that, like the educational system contributes more to making the citizens docile, like through archaic pedagogy. So we seek to join the fund to education and promote autonomy and self-training in different disciplines in our language, the Moroccan Darija, because it all began actually from this realization that there isn't necessarily much tutorials on the internet. Like there are a lot of tutorials on many stuff on the internet, in English, in French, or in various languages, but there isn't enough, or there isn't at all tutorials in Darija. So actually people who are not English speaking, French speaking, etc., cannot necessarily have or see this or reach these tutorials. So that was actually the whole point of Active Skills. is to make these tutorials or this knowledge actually accessible to the very general audience, beyond actually our physical limitation and beyond the periphery of Casablanca, to reach eventually the whole Morocco, and eventually, why not, North African countries too, who are also Darija speaking, who can understand the Moroccan Darija. So about the collaborations, we had a collaboration with a collective named Murky Murdoch, which is a collective of artists, generally sonic artists and music productions. Like it was their first edition of the festival named Chapter 0. We collaborated with this collective and we made do-it-yourself workshops and graffiti workshops, like for the general public who were part of the festival. And about our general collaboration, we made our first cycle that we showed above with the cultural structure named L'Usine, which is in Isba, in the periphery of Casablanca. Later on, during the second cycle, we made our collaboration with Les Étoiles de Sidi Moment, which is also a cultural space that gave us their space in order to make our open laboratory during the second cycle on art and technology. And in the first chapter of tutorials with l'FMD and l'Union Européenne, like European Union, and l'FMD, which is the Forum de Modernité et de Démocratie, which is an NGO advocating progressive and democratic values within the Moroccan society. Later on, we did it with USL Boulevard during most of our music concerts. They also helped us in giving us access to their space and their various tools, so we can make our music concert as we wish. Like USL Boulevard, which is also an NGO, and making actually the oldest festival dedicated to the urban culture in Morocco. It was from the 1999 more or less, and it still exists till today. So it's pretty the oldest festival dedicated to urban culture here in Morocco. And with La Folle, which is Fondation des Œuvres Laïques. During our roundtable, they were also actually helping us in giving us the space and the various tools actually to make our activities work. And finally, the people behind the Kounaktif collective and the Kounaktif dynamics are these people. Like there is Omar Qassimi, who is in charge of photography and videography of most of our events, like general events, etc. There is Omar Bouzawi, who is behind our logo and most of our production communication tools. He is also an artist and an illustrator. There is Muad Miziati, who is in charge, like who is a cultural operator and in charge of partnership and of collaboration and of funds. And there is Shaima Yaqoubi, who is illustrator and artist, and also in charge of most with Omar, most of our cultural communication tools and posters, flyers, etc. There is Yusuf Aoui, who is the co-founder and in charge of the production, like most of the production. He's the director of the production of Kounaktif, like of various events and various activities. And there is myself, who is curator, artist, and in charge also of partnerships and fundraising with Muad Miziati. And there is Sofia Awraq, who is in charge of communication, also cultural operator, helping with writing projects and various ideas, etc. So this is the main people actually behind the Kounaktif. Now, today, like I'm gonna close with this, like what we are now and what we are doing, our vision, etc. So currently, we just launched actually a project named Tabiat of 3.0, which means literally nature 3.0, and the whole this project actually is in partnership with the handball in Rabat. And the point of this project is to investigate the agricultural policies and how they impact us locally, how they impact the ecosystem, the difference between food resilience and food sovereignty, and everything related to the soil and the relation between the different traités, I don't know how to say this, but the various stuff that Morocco has signed with the ancient colonial power, and how this is affecting us today. So there is this series of discussions and theoretical aspect of the project, and then the second half of the project is also oriented more manually, like how can we be more autonomous when it comes to food. So we will launch a series of tutorials and workshops where people will learn how they will make their own food at home, like vertically within urban conditions, etc. And yeah, I think this is it. And the next activity that we have, like the first activity after forever, like physical activity after forever, will be held in Friday, like the 20th April, and it's about how the international agricultural policies impacting our ecosystem, and it will be held in Mohammedia around the city of Casablanca in order to go out from the center and decentralize our activity. So it's pretty exciting times for us, because we can finally actually physically gather with people, etc., even if it's restricted due to the COVID-19, etc. But it's still amazing time. So I think this is it. This is all. If you want to follow us, like we are present in Facebook and Instagram. Like we just need to write down Kounaktif. Our email is kounaktif @gmail.com. And yeah, I think this is it. Thank you a lot. I hope it wasn't too long. And if you have any questions, any critics or anything, just go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf. If there is any question, please.
I have a question for Yusuf. Hi, this is Amir Ali.
Hi, Amir Ali, go ahead.
I was wondering if how do you deal with language barrier, or if there is some attempts to do how do you do it? Bilingual, or your target audience always like talking and
what do you mean?
at the same time?
What do you mean with language barriers? Like, we mean like actually physically when we make actual events on the offline?
Yes, I mean it's gonna be like, for example, if the content of the text or the things that is being discussed, the material is in another language, and then therefore the audience is mixed, or how do you manage that? Is it precondition of a language precondition need to tell the people that, I mean, if this workshop is taking place in Arabic or in French or in English, or you translate simultaneously? This is just some practical question, because sometimes we need to slow down to be able to make sure that everybody understands. Speaking of my own experience here, or sometimes, I mean, we were trying to hold workshops to improve the English of the participants first, and then to attend some other languages as well. Yeah,
actually, with generally we like sometimes actually we have the audience who are not necessarily actually speaking Arabic or Darija, etc., or some of the speakers who are speaking French mostly or English. So the general solution that we find is it's silly, because we try actually to translate au fur et à mesure, like I try, for example, if I am the presenter, I try to speak both languages. So it's pretty hard to follow up always, like to try to speak in both languages and try to translate at the same moment. Or lately, we were thinking actually about another solution, like for our upcoming events, which is, for example, using a projector and actual professional, but it needs actually funds in order to do this, like finding actually a translator who is in real time there and using the projector in order to translate, like you are translating, for example, a piece theater or something. Like this is one of the practical aspects that we come up with, more or less, in order to translate in real time, because it's pretty hard actually to translate. And generally, actually, within our open laboratories, we try to make them in the periphery. And in the periphery, most of the people are Darija speaking, like Arabic speaking, like Moroccan Darija speaking. So we don't have necessarily problem in that, unless the speaker or the artist facilitator is not English, like he's not Darija speaking. Here we find it as a problem, but generally most of the people actually we choose to join our activities are Darija speaking, so we don't have necessarily this problem. But during, for example, the roundtables, we have this problem, because people are generally mixed between English speaking, French speaking, and Darija speaking. And the solution mostly actually for the discussions are this. But for example, when it comes to workshops or open laboratories, pretty hard, because the whole point of open laboratories are open. So there isn't necessarily actually actual rigid solid structure, so we can't really follow. It can be just discussions between someone and his neighbor, or his like it's some sort of peer-to-peer discussion. So it's pretty hard actually to translate all of this. So yeah, so I think this is it.
Thank you very much, Yusuf.
Thank you
for the presentation as well.
Yeah, thank you. So if there is any question left,
Yusuf, I want to ask one question or two.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the first one is it is incredibly wide fields you are working on. I mean, from philosophy to art technology and public art, everything, and you are reaching the second thing. You are reaching a wide community, as far as I understood from the images.
Reaching what?
Wide community.
Yes.
I mean, people. You can access to the people.
Yes.
Now, these related to my experience, in our own experience, the two questions. When you started, you were more in the classical art, as far as I understood. But later, the technology component came, or in the latest years, you are more technology oriented, if I'm not wrong. How this change happened? Because for us, the opposite happened, actually.
It began, yeah, for you, I guess it began with technology, and then it converted to thought, thinking, philosophy, right?
Yeah, or other art practices. Okay. But as far as I understood, yours is from this general, but...
Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna answer for this first question, and then you can go with the next. So for us, actually, knowing that me and the co-founder Yusuf Ali come from a philosophical background, like we both have actual bachelor degrees in philosophy, so we both came actually from this thought thing. Because before actually Kounaktif, we were both part of a collective named l'Union des étudiants pour le changement du système éducatif, which can be translated by the Union of Students of Educational System. And we had this activity that we were holding in public spaces, which its name was like its name was Philosophy in the Street. And within this activity, which is philosophy in the street, the whole point actually was more or less such as Kounaktif, but it was mostly targeting the public space. Like, how can we make them public heavens of public discussions around political, philosophical, ethical questions. So I think one of the roots of Kounaktif actually came also from here, like because the target was not necessarily at the time necessarily art as art. Like, art came later on. Like, at first there was the critical thinking part, and then later on the interest was rising more and more on the art, because I myself like was interested by visual art and by technology in general. Like, it was one of my main interests, but I wasn't practicing necessarily professionally speaking, but I was practicing as an amateur. Like, I was learning by myself because I couldn't afford actually to go to any art school, because it was crazy for my parents to study art, because it's sometimes mostly here in Morocco, it's more or less a privilege actually to study art, because it's pretty hard if you come from a popular area or from middle class, etc., to go study art unless you have a backup behind you. So I was mostly more interested by these technological aspects and by these questions around technology and their dangers, etc., etc. And I was mostly actually influenced by when during my studies of philosophy, I was mostly influenced by Heidegger and his like critiques of technology as the final stage of the human civilization, or the Western human civilization, like why the whole itinerary of human civilization / Western civilization came up to this technology, like came up to this very question actually of technology being the key point of progress and the key point of development. Like, as we see and we all know, like, technology is almost ever present in every field possible. So I think from there, I think I was more and more interested, knowing actually I was practicing like I was dealing with technological devices, like from being a kid interested. Actually, I was dissecting them, trying to understand how does it work, etc., etc. So I was learning more and more about that. So later on, the idea actually, like, we had more or less like the ground or the condition actually to connect these both areas. How can we connect like the technology and the thinking aspects, and also connected also eventually with the ecology? Because the whole point of this collective, how it was created, it came more or less from this activist philosophical background mixed with art and technology. So that's why actually we intend more or less to mix and to think more or less transversally, like to connect the various areas, because we think if we go into specialization, like if we like, it's like you are closing the borders for yourself and for the other members of the collective in order to blossom. So that's why actually we are trying to not close ourselves in just one field or one discipline, which we are trying to mix as much as possible, because we think that this is the natural way of doing stuff. Like, if we see, for example, any natural field, we find actually many species, many plants, etc., etc., and they are coexisting with each other. We are trying actually to formulate Kounaktif in the same way, like many disciplines, many ways, many like artistic disciplines connecting with each other, and eventually creating an ecosystem of disciplines mixing ecology, technology, philosophy, or thoughts, or critical thinking. We think that that's how it arose. I hope I answered your question, Ahmed.
Yeah, it was very good explanation and inspiring. Yes, and the second question was actually about the community. How do you access to the people? Are they so engaging, or are they, I mean, very ready to participate in Casablanca? I don't know the conditions there, but it looks that you reach to ordinary people. I mean, not artists or students necessarily, but what are the ways of reaching the wide audience as well?
Yeah. So since the point actually we're also actually targeting citizens, like literally like Lambda citizens, even though I don't like name them this way, but like the general public or the general audience.
Public, yes.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah. Like how to target like actually the general audience was like, since we work actually with cultural structures operating on the field or offline, it was like generally a real collaboration with these cultural structures. So they were actually trying to help us by working on formulaire, some forms more or less actually to subscribe, because since they have a lot of visitors from the neighborhoods, etc., etc., we were trying actually to communicate offline in there and having some of us in there in collaboration with people from this structure, so they can register offline, not necessarily online, because at first we had this problem. We were mostly communication online, thinking that people that we want to target are mostly online, but we then thought that probably that people that we want to work with are actually people who are far away from the field, away from the artistic field, far away from the philosophical field. So that's why actually we try to connect mostly on the field. So I think that's one of the methods that we are using, is to go literally on the field and trying to talk with people, connect with people, trying to make them understand what we do, how we do it, and eventually even actually talking to parents, to kids, to literally anyone and everyone. So this is actually due to the whole dedication of the team, and at the same time to the collaborators who are also like having faith or believing in what we do, so that they were also doing their part by using their communication tools, who are generally also efficient and reaching a greater audience, mostly actually on the neighborhoods, because it's generally structures that are located on the periphery and working also mostly on the neighborhoods. So they have they had the right channel to speak with these people. For example, instead of using, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, or other digital tools, they were also having numbers of people. So this also was helpful for us, because it was closer. We could actually call people, tell them when this workshop is happening, and we could more or less follow up with them. So this was actually the way that we could reach people. So collaborating with the structure that is operating on the field, and also going in the field and trying to communicate with people, gathering their numbers to have this proximity and creating this intimate relationship with them, and making these people understand that this was made by them and for them, and not necessarily some foreign stuff coming to whatever means. So I think these two aspects are one of the key points that we worked on in order actually to gather a community. And I think that we probably know that with time actually the community grows and grows and grows, and the actual people from these different areas become ambassadors of the platform. Like they begin to talk about Kounaktif, what is it, etc. There is this event here, there is this event there. So it's more organic. Like it requires time. That's why actually after 2 years of work that we defined the DNA, we didn't want to restrict ourselves from the beginning, like from the thought, but we experimented and try to reach the people with whom we're gonna work, and then define exactly what we are, what we do, our DNA, our values, etc. So this was the way that we did it.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if there is further, or I think.
Is there any other question?
I think this is it.
Okay, then thank you for the presentation and also for the explanations.
Thank you.
Now, I think we can continue with TAH project, Mohsen and Milad.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
So, hello everyone. Hope everything goes well for you. I'm Milad. First of all, I want to say thank you to Ekmal and people who are working very hard in amberFestival, and also people who are working in Oyoun platform. We had a virtual tour of the Oyoun space, and it was really nice and amazing. It's a great chance to meet all of you guys and know about different cultures, different countries and cities, different ways of thinking, and many other great things. I'm so happy to be a part of this big event. To explaining the DAH project or Darul Hukuma project, it was it just one. I just want to start with this example. It could be maybe simple comparison between people that are living in different locations in the world. I want to talk about using electricity to have a lamp with light. In the beginning, it's something normal and simple. We can imagine two different people that are living in Iran and another one living in Germany. In the same situation, they are using the lamps, and then you can imagine then suddenly the electricity is gone. And they want to use a candle to have some light. Probably 60% of Iranian people, when they sit in front of a candle, will have these three words in their minds: candle, flower, butterfly. In Farsi, we say sham o golo parvane. Maybe there is no relation between these three words, but in Persian literature and also our culture, next to the candle, I mean, flower and butterfly are comes next to the candle. So in this same situation, I have no, honestly, I have no imagination about a person that sits in front of a candle who is living in Germany. So we have some same, maybe same tools, technologies, and maybe equipments. However, our different perspective on these things make us different from each other. So I think this little or maybe tiny point was the point that I and Mohsen have started the Darul Hukuma project in 2013. In the beginning, we did not have the community in new media art, but I mean, when I talk about the community, I mean the audiences, viewer, artists, gallerists, and students to maybe find some books, learn something about the new media. I mean, in Shiraz, we didn't have any activities related to new media and maybe digital media in art. What was the first step? So we decided to rent a space to have some activities. Other galleries in Shiraz were working on some classical forms of arts like painting, and they didn't honestly trust to us. So we had to rent a gallery. We changed some structure of the gallery and buy some equipment like video projection, computers, lip motions, Kinects, virtual reality glasses. So because me and Mohsen want to work with this stuff, because we want to create some spaces for artistic practices and present some maybe high level artists and art activists. and we invite some art activists to help us to curate some shows, workshops, talks. Sometimes they send to us some digital books and magazines about new media art and digital media, because we hadn't access to this kind of stuff. For example, Amazon or some online shops to order the online books or magazines, and they send us some articles, books, and some stuff like this. So our first show was bitrate in Shiraz artist from. It was the first show of new media art in Shiraz. It's the exhibition in the curated by Moreshin Allahiari and Mani Nilchiani. They help us to make our community and to show to present some great artworks from artists around the world. In their curation process, Moreshin and Mani have selected artists that each use a variety of digital tools, material, and software in their works to present a specific category and technological aesthetic of new media art, from art games, creative coding, experimental 3D animations to glitch art and animated GIF. With help of these ways, we wanted to create an active community in Shiraz and also in other cities of Iran. We had some experiences in Yazd, actually in Esfahan, in Tehran, with Amir Ali, and sometimes with Dastan Gallery. In GIF Box project, I and Mohsen tried to start curating in art. It was Daniel Roig's project, and Daniel gave this chance to me and Mohsen to have some new experiences and curate some new GIFs from Iranian artists. It was a start point of our curating experiences. One thing that I should add to this talks, me and Mohsen were working as a graphic designer, so we design all of our things, such as posters, motions, 3D motions, and logo, website, and other designs. Sometimes it goes to be hard because we should handle all the things together. But in the first step, when we start in Shiraz, we did it. We all the time we try to fix all things and to have some new exhibitions, to have some other things. So maybe Mohsen could help us to explain more about that project. Mohsen?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Am I okay? Yeah, hello, salam, everyone. Yeah, thanks, Milad, for describing this. Yeah, I also want to say thanks to everyone here. We are really glad to be here, part of this amazing festival. Maybe I can also, yeah, yeah, we are also so glad that, and thanks, Milad, for describing this introduction about that project. Yeah, that project is a totally non-profit project. Yeah, totally, as Milad said, like we just start ourselves with like our money, with our time. Just, I mean, it was just because we love to do this in our city. And then, yeah, we are so glad that after a couple of years, we have some new connections. We already did some really good projects with, as Milad say, with Dastan Gallery, with Amir Ali, New Media Society, and many other activists in Iran. Actually, maybe we can also share the website to talk about like the events. Yeah, I mean, how can I do this? Ah, okay.
Oh, sorry, you are moderator now and also presenter. Just next to the camera icon, there's a screen share.
Yeah. So now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So most of the exhibitions and activities that we had, like, unfortunately, I mean, sometimes it's so weird. Germany, I don't know what happened to the server. I don't know, maybe, or yeah, I prepared some slides here. Maybe we can talk about these slides. I mean, yeah, I just briefly some of the projects that we had in Shiraz. Like, this is the interactive installation that we did in one of the most famous streets in the city called famous streets in the city. It's like every year there is an urban event there. It's in Afifabad city, and we did an interactive installation there. And yeah, as you see, like, this is all the people that helped us into facilitate and bring this installation. Like, it was our friends and our community, the people that just love to do this, to bring something to the city. And yeah, we got some really nice feedbacks from people. Maybe at the moment I just disabled my camera here. Oh yeah. And then we also so glad that we had a TEDx. We invited for the talk in a TEDx that happened in Shiraz, Molla Sadra Street, and we described what happened to us, like mostly like the things that Milad said, how we start and how this project brings us to the things that, I mean, we already did, like, and how we get the trust of the galleries to trust in digital, to put digital artworks in the gallery. And yeah, this stuff, and it was such a nice experience also. And then we invited to curate a show for Platform for Digital Art Festival in Frankfurt in 2017. It was also really nice, experience for us. Like, we invite around 17 artists from the city, like from different backgrounds in art, like sculpture, painting, drawing, different kind of arts. And we just invite them to our office to have a 3-month workshop together, and then we talk about augmented reality to them. I mean, we talk about how they can extend their creativity or their artworks if they want to put their artworks in a technology, something like augmented reality, and how this technology could help them to bring some new ideas to their artwork. It was really nice time. We had weekly meetings with all these amazing artists and also friends in the city. And yeah, one by one, we developed the projects together. And the final result was so fun and interesting. It was a AR project with different materials. Like, for example, this is something that our friend made. It's a kind of handicraft from a city of Iran, Kerman, or Baft, specifically. And also, yeah, she had this augmented reality data on it, and also it's print. And this one was an architect project with augmented reality, and this one happened on a plate yeah, we saw many, and also it was a painting on a plate, actually. And yeah, we had very different, like, kind of like materials and ideas and artworks, let's say, but all of them was produced during these 3 months. And then we bring it to the festival, and we got really nice feedbacks. Like, for example, this image, I don't know if you see my mouse or not, but anyway, right down image, it was like a stamp that one of the artists did, and people can just put these stamps on their hand or, I don't know, their body, and then they saw a story about, like, a story that happened in Shiraz, like, hundreds years ago. It was about, like, a piece that happened in Shiraz, or anyway, and the story was appeared on their, like, on their hands by this augmented reality. And yeah, we had really nice feedbacks on this exhibition. And yeah, we had a talk also, like, in the festival, talk about, like, what's happening in Shiraz and digital art scene and what we did, or yeah, this stuff. And then we had the first, like, embassy of Darağaç festival. Darağaç is a, like, biennial. Sorry, biennial. Darağaç is a biennial for digital arts. That we had the first physical exhibition of this festival in Iran, and we collaborate with Dastan Gallery. And yeah, we had many, like, also, like, we create a show for this festival. This festival took place in 2 different formats. One was this physical exhibition, and one was this website. The website was also an AR website, kind of. And yeah, we present some projects, like this is a VR project from me, and also, like, this project from Milad, and also the AR project that we did, and we curate, and we had workshop for in the, like, in Not From for Digital Art Festival. And also we invited Mehdi Bahrami. He's also in our exhibition, in our upcoming exhibition in the, like, for this festival, and as well many others, like Haqqana, who did this, and also yeah, most of our community that we did these projects together are a part of our activities also during the Amber Festival. And in our exhibition, we will present some of their works. For example, this one is a game art project that Mehdi Bahrami did. It's about, like, Iranian and Islamic geometries, and he, like, did some really nice and interesting creative codings and bring these geometries into game, to art game, kind of. And yeah, it was a, like, also, like, interactive installation, and yeah, it was a, like, totally, like, digital art exhibition. And also we had patch room. We did it as a part of tier art, which happened, like, I think 2 years ago. It was like art fair, kind of the first art fair happened in Iran, and we curate a show for this room. We just spread many gifts. I think more than 200 or something. I can't remember it. The statistics in our website. It was so many gifts, and it was, like, kind of like a conclusion of our activities during these years, because it was a kind of, like, one of the past projects that we did, and it was kind of as I say, a conclusion of all the artists and the community that we found in these years. We asked all the artists around, all the people that we worked during these years, to send us some gifts, some small short gift animation from their projects too. And then we just put all of these gifts together, and the room was a, like, really stunning place with so many images moving, and each image was representing an artist, or, I don't know, a project, or, there were so many things to see. And yeah, it was also a nice experience. And yeah, also it's good to see this image, because this project was one of our failures during this time. Like, we asked, we were so excited at this moment, because we asked for having the, like, really huge festival about art, technology, and science in Iran, and we prepared a really like huge also proposal. We spent more than 3 months, and we just collect all these amazing people in Sarvana's art gallery in Shiraz. We had this office also like for this project. We was planning for doing this festival, and yeah, we invite people from neuroscience, we invite people from robotics, from different, even like this in the right, you will see the persons that are coming from like Shiraz hospital. We also wanted to like do some projects between art and technology, and also between science, medical science. And we planned so much for this festival, 3 months non-stop working, and then yeah, unfortunately because of like financial and yeah, other things, maybe it's not a place to describe it. Yeah, but I mean, because of the problems, we didn't able finally to like, we just it was a failure project. And yeah, it was the last slide that I prepared. But yeah, I mean, oh, some nice effect. I mean, the web, unfortunately, yeah, I mean, I cannot open the page of the website because this homepage is already cached here. And yeah, you can see all the talks that we had in Shiraz, and as Milad said, in Yazd, and yeah, in Frankfurt anyway. And also all the projects that we did during this time. I mean, most of them are a combination from art and technology, what we really love. And yeah, I think we will also be happy anytime if we like, get some news, or I don't know, collaboration, any help, anything. Yeah, we're always welcome to this. Yeah, thank you. If there is any question, we are glad to.
Thank you, Milad Mohsen. Yeah, we're looking for questions.
I have a question for our friends in Shiraz and Berlin. I wonder, how do you keep yourself interested in technology? You seem very, very much into it. We cannot keep up with you guys. I say it as a compliment, okay? But can you explain?
Milad,
Mohsen, go ahead. Yeah.
so how we keep ourselves interested into technology? I mean, yeah, it's really complicated question. Maybe Amir Ali, can you describe it a little bit more? Because in which aspect do you mean, like because of the challenge that it has, or
Not because of the challenge, because not so many people are into it, and then you have to do a constant fight with people and explain everything and try to make them interested and so on. I know that it has a basic attraction at first, but when it comes the difficult part, that you have to read, you have to code, you have to do all these things, there are less and less people sometimes. And you have to do, somebody has to do the job, yeah? Somebody has to do the labor, you know? Because artists will be artists somehow. Not all the artists are into doing something that you do. So it's like this job, this mediating between the two fields. That's what I'm trying to ask. And how do you keep yourself, I mean, excited about it all the time? And to promote it and to share it with others.
Maybe Amir Ali, all of these things are related to each other. Maybe, if I right understand you, I can maybe explain it this way, because at the first time, me and Mohsen want to be just maybe new media artists, maybe artists as well, but we didn't have any spaces, any community, anything to have something, to have some experiences, to practice something. But we try to create something, some community, some maybe we try to make money for this way, for being artists maybe. And the first step for me, maybe I can say myself, for me is being artist is really important. But at this way we should curate some show, we should have some different experiences to maybe grow it up at this project, at this, I mean, you know, really great know about the Iranian situation, Iranian art situation, and maybe you can feel us about the, when we don't have any spaces for work, maybe we don't have any university and specific courses about the new media art, about the digital media. As you know, in Iranian art scene, maybe some of our friends don't know about the difference between the digital media and new media art at this time, you know. But we try to fix this kind of problem in Iran. We didn't access to any books, any other things, and sometimes we ask you, Amir Ali, give us something, or maybe Mohsin Allahi, or maybe other great friends. So you know about the our situation, Amir Ali, and Mohsen, you can add something maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really like nice question, I think. Yeah, I mean, something that I'm thinking about is like, to add the things that Milad said, which I'm really totally agree to all of them. Some things I can add to this is like as Milad also said, our background was in graphic design, and also even when we were studying graphic design, we were also interested in like technology. Like our final thesis in graphic design was an interactive installation with Adobe Flash at that time. And which was like so like weird for the university, like, because usually it was like posters or like these things. But maybe a part of this answer to this question is our interest from before, maybe like more than 10-15 years ago. Like me and Milad know each other, and every time that we know each other, we was really interested in like doing something with computer and this computer stuff. And maybe another part of like the answer would be like the bridge between our job, like the things that we earn money and we survive from, and the art that we are working. Because yeah, we are currently also work as a like graphic designer, motion designer, and you know, probably finally we always need to like keep ourselves updated about like that software or that technique, or yeah, as Milad say, like, I don't know, this tool or like this hardware, these things. And yeah, for sure, I mean, being artist is the first priority, but I mean, maybe it's the kind of like the flow of our life that always bring us to the like computer things is like, yeah, but I mean, we always try our best to keep ourselves like updated in like, I don't know, in literature, in like, I don't know, like reading something in the like, I mean, in the artistic side. To not, yeah, as Amir Ali also you say, like digital art has an attraction, which is like, I mean, sometimes it's just about like entertainment events, some installation or something. We always just try to keep ourselves in a side to like be a little bit aware of like literature, social things, I don't know, and the things that are mostly feeds of artists. We just yeah, try our best to be balanced between like just the technology or technology stuff, or like the like artistic creation, or I don't know, something like this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Amir Ali.
Thanks, Amir Ali.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ikram.
If there is no other questions, as if so, thank you, Milad and Mohsen, for your presentation.
Thank you, Ekmel.
Thank you so much.
Most
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Milad.
And now I think it is Amber's time to present, and I will do that. And I'm taking the presenter and sharing my screen. One second. By accident, I blocked the permission screen sharing. Okay, I think here it is. Yeah, I mean, amberPlatform. Also, let me start with a prehistory of amberPlatform. It was as yesterday after Amber Ali's talk, as we discussed a bit. In 2007, mid 2000s were kind of the lively times and the fruitful times in the art and cultural scene in maybe many countries in the region, but also in Turkey. And it was right after the 10 years, almost a decade after that we have internet. We had internet like 1996. We did the first internet. Public internet access was available in Turkey. So since then, of course, it was a big change in the cultural scene. Also, the yacht culture actually, universities and university yacht, and all. Something was changing, and I was still do the same thing actually, but those times I used to teach also at visual communication design departments, but I always, and I used to teach media design and media coding, design, etc. And I always used the art in my kind of teaching. So when we were in mid 2000s, there were already many students of mine, and also other, because in '99 all these visual communication design departments started in Turkey, which was actually the base for this new media and technology and art relation, because the culture has somehow developed in these schools and among the students of these departments. So it was a kind of new trend, and it was very fanciful at the time. At these times, for the young students especially. So therefore we kind of started looking for a place to show these works, to make this new field public. And before amberPlatform, which was started in 2007, we made with a group of friends and colleagues, and we made another trial, and it was a smaller version of amberFestival. It was actually started with a workshop idea, but then it turned to be a festival, kind of a small festival, let's say, a set of performances and exhibitions. And so after that, in 2007, we started amberPlatform. Actually, amberPlatform is BIS. BIS is Beden İşlemsel Sanatlar, which means Body Art Process Association. So we started this association that aims to explore artistic forms of expression at the conjunction of the body and the digital processes. So in 2007, the founder were kind of the friends, artists from different disciplines: dance, performance, design, social sciences, and engineering, and academics, artists, and researchers, a group of people. So we started with this, and the first practice of us was the previous experience. So we started with the idea of again to create a platform. The best way, we decided to make a festival around that, so to make the visibility of the scene, and also to create a platform for the international discussion and protection, and where we can bring people together and make the connections and create a network through this festival, around this festival, basically on art and technology, which is actually transforming the world we are living in. So this is it had many, three. Okay, this is the formal body behind amberPlatform, but amberPlatform is the community, and we call it amberPlatform. This is only used for in the these European projects and the association, but all the activities run through this association actually formally, and but we are known as amberPlatform, and we call it amberPlatform. So amberPlatform, or BIS, has three main parts. amberPlatform, let's say the main umbrella, actually the community. amberFestival is the festival we run from the beginning till 2015, and again now. And the Amber Network is also another initiation that we started. But these are the continuous project, and there are transitory projects. We, from bottom to top, we started immediate project. It was a kind of immersive dance research project in 2008. Since then, Chance, Global Gateway, Special Issue, Common Tense, Tribe, Connecting Cities, Hybrid City, and Transmaking were the Creative Europe projects that we started taking part. And of course, that was also, I'm gonna be sort of critical about us too in this, so we can have maybe other discussion points too. In 2006, actually, Turkey started being part of Creative Europe. And of course, because of that, from the other European NGOs and institutions, it was a charming option to include someone from Turkey, because it's a new partner, and it was a plus point. So that is actually how we started being invited in this project. And then after a while, two things happened. One is we decided to whom it work after a while, but on the same time, these projects actually shaped how we developed, how we became, the amberPlatform or whatever. On the other hand, almost all the money we spent, or all the financial background, came through these Creative Europe projects, basically. I will explain it a bit later too. So since our inception, we are aiming at researching the social impact of the new technologies with a critical approach, disseminating the culture of creative and participatory technology, researching new forms of expression provided by the new technologies, creating an international platform for exchange of knowledge and experience, and increasing international visibility of the works and artists and researchers that works in the field in Turkey. So these were kind of the main ideas behind our kind of targets. So the Amber Festival started with these ideas and to create a platform, etc. And the Amber 7 in 2007 was the first one. And although we say Amber, as you could see, that Beden İşlemsel Sanatlar, Body Process Arts Festival, it was the title. And at the time, the theme of the festival was voice and survival in the technology era, or in digital technologies. So voice and survival is kind of related to Sufi understanding of, being part of something. So it is, the voice is part of the body and existence. And so we just wanted to understand, or wanted to learn or research the connection between this, our existence and the technology. And that was a year before the Iraq war was started. So it was our tech. In Turkey, we are more at the time. Now, these days, it's changed for the part of the society, but we were kind of all were looking at the West. I mean, the Europe was the communication was cut between Middle Eastern countries and Turkey, but we were more communicated with the European. And so but we were in that region, in that part of the world, and the technology was kind of actively used in the neighbors. So since the country that not producing, researching, and creating new technologies, what are the artists and people think about the technology, and how do they handle these new changes? So voice and survival was the first one, and again, this was actually done totally from the pocket of the people who started Amber Festival, because that first year we didn't have any project yet, and some sponsors, which are mostly helped us in kind. Istanbul 2010 is written there, but it was not approved already that year. And then the second one was interpassive persona. Again, this time, because Beden İşlemsel Sanatlar, Body Process Arts, is an unknown field or unknown terminology, we decided to take it out, because nobody understood what is it, why it is there. So it was now Arts and Technology Festival, but Amber. So Amber is actually electron in Greek. So it is very much related to the static electricity, and where the name, actually we, on suggestion of a friend among us, we took the name, which is also kind of internationally, the shared word. So the second was interpassive persona. It was we were talking about interactive words, but how interactive we are, or are we getting interpassive through the technology? Are we kind of the technology used to create interpassive personas? That's Robert Fowler was the creator of the term, actually, in '96, and he was giving examples of that, all these machines. His first examples was the VHS tapes. At the time, people were recording the tapes and putting them on top of each other, but never watched them. But with the digital technologies, this became to another size. Now we have millions of films, music files. We never listen, or many PDF articles, books on our computers, but never will be read. So this kind of interpassivity also, we are actively using our credit card, but we are a passive member of the whole system, actually. So these were the things that we wanted to create. We always came with a team, and we just wanted these teams to be talked about. And of course, it was not always easy to make direct connection between the teams and the artworks. Can be sometimes very firm, but sometimes very loose. But it was always worked somehow. We believe that we started some discussions at least. And in 2009, it was uncyborgable, which was, again, this body and, you know, all the issues around body, especially in a Muslim country, was our problems. Okay, the body, woman body, but what about the cyborgs? And how technological our bodies are? And we just wanted to discuss also, cyborglaştıramadıklarımızdan mısınız? One of the longest structure of making a long Turkish word. It's cannot compare it with the German language, of course, but uncyborgable. So it was about the technology and basically and the body. In 2010, Istanbul was European Cultural Capital, and the team, we also focused on the city, and the team was Data City. And again, how the images of the cities are changed, actually. Now, I mean, in the beginning of the century, the photographs were giving kind of images about the cities. But now this image totally changed and moved to another platform or platforms. Now every city has a cloud over it, which is actually an image of that city. So, I mean, how this data and city relation, and we try to always, with these festivals, we try to do a few things. We always made calls at the beginning, because at the beginning, except the first year, although we called in the first year too, we always had some sort of power to produce works or exhibit works and invite people. And for that, those times when we have the possibility, we made calls, and these calls helped us also to be known through the art networks. So many people applied, and we made a selection through the calls most of the time, beside invited artists. And this was one of the things that I wanted to mention. And the second thing, we always try to keep almost half, or like, let's say minimum 30% of the artists and speakers and from Turkey. So we always wanted to kind of create a network, create a kind of collaboration and relation between you know, European or artists from abroad and Turkey. And the third things, we wanted to bring these issues really into the public domain. So, for example, with this this data city, we tried to communicate with the municipality, and we invited them. We made several around tables with members of the municipality, and even we convinced them to open the traffic data for at least 1 month, and an artist made a work on the traffic data of Istanbul. So you know, to free access to public data, etc. These were all the things that we wanted to discuss. Yeah, create discussion about. We did, but what happened, of course, it's all those data is a commercial thing, but at least the questions are there. Now, in 2011, the next ecology was the team, and this was about the, yeah, we should, I mean, our ecology is these concrete buildings around us, not the trees, or, you know, even the children born in Istanbul don't know what a sheep is or what a cow looks like, only except from the books. So, I mean, we are living in this technology, and this technology is now not only concrete. In Turkey, still technology means concrete or whatever. I mean, there's no technology, but concrete. Everything is being converted into concrete. Unfortunately, still, like Amir Ali also mentioned yesterday, and but there is, of course, the developing technologies, these digital technologies, and we should consider an environment, an ecology, including technology, or around, not around, but including technology in the same level, maybe. So this was about a holistic understanding of ecology differently. So in 2000, the commons. So it was about the commons. But by paratactic, we wanted to say that, okay, there is private, there is public, but also there is commons, the commons. There is the air, there is the, the water, the fear, whatever. But at least we need to think all those as equals. I mean, between, we can understand that public-private discussion, but let's put the commons at least to the same level so that can be discussed. So this was the theme of the festival, and we made many workshops, and all those festivals, in all those festivals we had a lot of workshops, the sections called school, and targeting young audience. Actually, our festival were mainly targeting young generation and the new coming artists and students, and of course part of the art scene, besides the part of maybe interested technology lovers, and So Paratactic Commons was the poster made by Fatih. I don't know, one of the creators. This poster was actually after 6 months of in November in 2013 May. Gezi uprising started in Istanbul. So this poster was kind of the real, became the real case. When we started in 2007. But later we wanted to extend our reach and decided to use the universities for that reason, because it was easier. The academic environments, academy, we converted these invited speakers into a conference. So we made a conference call. And we started the Amber conference. It was a 3-day conference in the classical, are not directly connected, I mean, firmly connected, organically connected with a university. It was very difficult test conference, and it became kind of a boring event, just sitting there and listening halfly, I mean, meaningful or meaningless papers one after each other. And finally we decided to stop with it. And after this year, we didn't continue with the conference, but again turned to invited participants and invited speakers. So the 13, did you plug it in? So this was about the mainly commercial market language around the technology, that's smartphones, smart everything. But we just want to ask, okay, these tools are smart, but how about you? I mean, you still forget it to plug it in, and that is the first sentence or first item in the manuals of the, to find the error in the manuals. Just ask this question: did you plug it in? So if not, go plug. So this was again the market and the smart technologies and all those languages around the technology. And in 2014, the theme was decentralization. So as you could imagine, I mean, decentralization, what can mean. This was the smallest of the Amber festivals already, because after running a lot of Creative Europe Festival, which you have to find 50% at the time. It was 50% of the total budget internally in your local. But after start running that many of Creative Europe projects, in 2014 we were tired and we started canceling or abandoning the projects before it ends, because it was almost impossible to find the other 50% of the budget in Turkey. And these are the years. In 2011, the political climate start changing, and it was in 2014, 15, and now every day, every year, it gets worse and worse. So this was the final one we could have managed to make is the Labora Ergo Sum. This is the about the working in digital environment. So I mean, we are working full time. We are working for many platforms, Google, Facebook, etc., without knowing even knowing it. And this is the labor in digital era, our times. This was the main question of the time of the last festival. And after that, we couldn't manage to continue with the Samba festival because of the two reasons. One is in 2016, actually, when we were already preparing for the next festival, the Turkey withdrawn with the Creative Europe, so all our applications also stopped. And although if we could have done, it could have been a very small one in 2016, but these changes are also kind of depressed us, and we decided to stop. And these are some images. This is from 2007, Marcelo Antunes Roca, who was, very interesting. He's not continuing with these performances, but was, and these, several works that we exhibited in 2009 with the body, of course. Uncyborgable. Stellag was the keynote and also one of the featured artists. And we exhibited this in Basilica Cistern, which was a huge place, maybe the best space that we used for an exhibition. If any of you saw the space, it is kind of impressive old basilica. And Bill Warren from the same year, and several performances. These work actually was our production, a collaborative production. And Chris Hebel's Gray is also one of the keynotes that year. And these are from the conferences, and these are from the DJing nights, VJing nights, and this is the people around. And we always made a kind of Pecha Kucha-like events called 400 seconds, where the artists presented their work. All the invited artists are invited to make this, and the ones who wanted to do it, did it. So it was kind of interesting 5-minute presentations of each works. It worked well. This is Stellag's lecture in a university, and these are the workshops, several workshops from. This is actually one workshop, Johannes Springer's workshop in the first year, actually. And then video mapping workshop and guided tours for children. And this is, again, this is the immediate project. This was the first project that we were part, and Golem is the research project of that research performance of that immediate project, and we were part of it, and we exhibited that as well. And these are from 2010 discussions with the municipality and the artists. And in 2010, we only had 1 year, one space for 1 year. We also supported by Cultural Capital of Europe for 8, 9, 10 for 3 years. That was not a big amount, but okay, so that we could have just after the first year continued with the festival. And only on the last year in 2010, although they promised something differently, they gave us the chance to rent a space, and this was our first physical space. Before that, we didn't have any physical space, and this was only, we could only have maintained this for that year. After the 2010 Cultural Capital, we couldn't have a chance to continue with this beautiful space. It was very good, and we could have make many public events, rehearsal. We used that place as a rehearsal development space for many things, meeting space, everything. But yeah, again, the other performance and exhibitions, and again, several workshops. We always had a lot of workshop with the in the frame of festival, from dance to tech coding, etc. And again, we got 3-year support from Istanbul European Capital of Culture, and then these are the sponsors of us, but they are mostly, I mean, there are only 2 sponsors here which supported us with cash money, and also those are like very, very small amounts, but the rest was kind of in-kind sponsors. And yeah, these are how we, of course, I mean, these, beside those, as I told you, all the European projects somehow supported the amberFestival, because we always joined the events together and somehow managed this difficult task. And in 2008, right after the first installation of the festival, we felt that, okay, we are always and have to be, it's gonna be like this if we don't do anything else, need to contact artists from the west of Turkey, which is Europe, because we don't even know anybody from the other side, and there is no Kyrgyz embassy that you can knock the door and ask for the artists, because they even don't know, and there's I mean, I'm saying Kyrgyz, but that was true. Just Shahraban would not offended. Yeah, I mean, so we wanted to reach people and try to create our own network, which kind of looks from our east or around us, and to what are the developments in this area in the field of technology and art, which we know that none only exposed to technology, but none creates any technology. So we had a common base, common platform to discuss in art and technology issues. And this logo is made by Erfan Abdi, who is the one of the partners here. He was a New Media Society, member of New Media Society at the time, still probably. And again, and the first network, we had Kyrgyz Republic, Lebanon, Palestine, France, Iran, Greece, Armenia, and Georgia. And that is how I started. It worked a few years, for example, with Kyrgyz, Bishkek Contemporary, and Iran, and also France and Greece. We continued somehow exchanging resources and artists and works, but the others, they don't, but this, of course, because they could have been the part of some projects, because a network is also requires face-to-face and body-to-body connection. So now on that platform, we are too much focused on this festival, but beside this festival and in the festival and around the festival, we actually did many other things around the years. But that I realized that I always talk about the festival because this is the main thing that we do, we believe. But yeah, this was the Common Stance, one of the exhibition, New Media Arts from Turkey. We collaborated with Today's Art Festival in Den Haag, and we make this exhibition, several workshops and talks in like 2 weeks time in Den Haag. This is yeah, one of the works there. This is etching machine, Sertaç Ahmet Öztürk's work. It's a kind of interactive. These are from the workshops. Interface Culture Master Program in Linz. We made a collaboration between Amber members and the Linz students. And this was, again, Nagihan and Celine's work. And yeah, this is also exhibited in Museum Quartier. And we worked with, I mean, these are just few examples. These are, Tahribat-ı İsyan is a young, very young, the members are, you see here, were the members of that hip-hop band from the, you know, kind of, let's say, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to make similar mistake again, Yusuf. Disadvantaged district of the city, Istanbul. And they became kind of very famous in a very short time. They were too young, and we just asked them if you want to learn technology and use more technology in your sound work, etc. So we just made several atelier workshops with them, starting circuit bending and other stuff. And yeah, this was the project. And then we made other exhibitions. This is another exhibition that histories of the post-digital. This was actually I created with Darko Fritz, and this was an exhibition in exhibiting in two parts actually. One part was the new tendencies in Zagreb, and the other part was 9 evenings in New York 60s. So it was focused on these two events. These are the videos of 9 evenings exhibited there. There were 10 videos of the performances. And yeah, and this was actually the this kind of documentary exhibition. And it's also, we wanted to create a platform for research and, you know, to create an interest. For those, this was the study room, which is the entrance of the gallery, and the rest of the exhibition was on the first floor. And we ordered all possible reachable technology-related books of the time, and these were there open to be used openly. And also we started Art Electronic Media Archive, translating Art Electronic Media Archive into Turkish. So now there is more Turkish than Spanish actually in that archive. But of course that's also stopped after that, and it was an open process. So people sit there and translated parts for us, and, you know, some moderators just checked them, controlled them, and approved. and so that it is collaboratively developed thing. And these are the other exhibitions, which we had several exhibitions, art fairs in the department of, or part among the independents, of course, and book fairs. This was in a book fair. This is another exhibition, and again a book fair. And this is the word that women cannot cannot laugh in public, said by one of the Ministry of Turkey. So this was actually a word what written here about that. And when you just pass through, you hear women laughing with loudly. So these are several words exhibited. And this is another project to reach different public. And this is part of Beral Madras project, actually. We took part in it and moved the technology-related work to the Istanbul has 13 municipalities, if I'm not wrong, or even more, under the big city municipality, and they all have cultural centers. But those cultural centers are actually for only traditional art and children theater, basically. So this project was about changing the portfolio of the profile of these cultural spaces at 2010, but of course nothing changed in 2011. But we were happy to make this because we reached different audience. And this was the work of Ebru Kurbak and Mahir Yavuz. This was the knitting news knitting. They were getting the data from the Kurdish war and somehow converting it into this colorful patterns. And this, yeah, I mean, this is all actually I will talk about, and these are all the projects that we run, and about the projects, and that was the previous website, and which you can now, if you go to our website, which is amberPlatform.org, you will find a broken website and missing information of what actually we did. Few information. We never managed to record things properly, document things properly, and make them public properly. I mean, always with limited money, we always wanted to do the work first, and then nothing remained, and the rest never could have been done. So we are very bad in public relations. I think it was too long. Thank you for listening. So if you have any question, I can try to answer. Okay, thank you. Then I will invite Bishkek Amankul for the presentation of Bishkek Contemporary. Shahraban? Shahraban, are you there?
Yes, actually. And thank you very much, Ekmel, for your presentation. And maybe until Shahraban comes, I would like to ask a few questions about Amber. And I think it's really impressive, the the work you did in the past. If you could guess into the future, where do you think everything is going?
Actually, this is the question that we are asking. One of the reasons that we didn't have continued with this festival was this, political condition, the depression in the art and culture scene in Turkey, and the economical, financial situation. But also, after a while, this technology already, the artists are warning public era about the technology since 60s. And what they all said happened today. And when we started in 2007, we were also in that critical, approach. But in 2015, in 10 years, all the critics has already been there and just, normal. I mean, just this is why we called the latest festivals, events, and even this one post-digital. Now we are totally digital. I mean, we jumped over this this barrier, whatever. So, and when we are post-digital, our critics criticizing, or we lost the the philosophical or ideological or political references that we were sitting on up to 2015-16. Yeah, it could have, and this was actually one of the reasons that, okay, we started, should we continue with this, or the need is something else now? Because nobody cares about that critical, or these critics are not as important as it was in 2007, 8, 9, 10. Why, I don't know. So we now, after many years, we actually, we continued what we are doing is with this amberNetworkFestival. In our festival, we always also try to provide a platform for the artists and for the collaborations and the new openings which are stemmed from the coming together. So now we are actually trying to do this. And another project that we are running with Passage in Turkey is an independence map. We are trying to create an online map for the independents, because being an independent is another issue. It is because in the cultural scene, the institutionalization, corporatization is coming over all other independent or individual or group initiatives, etc. So the independent scene will not be remained at all, especially in countries like Turkey, because there is no support, and the other institutions, because they are cultural institutions, they are kind of the nice face of the capitalism, and they are easily get accepted by the society. So nobody discuss why on Beyoğlu, which is the main, walking street and the heart of Istanbul, there are only 3 big institutions and shaping all the, cultural scene. And especially, in these times like this crisis, only these institutions can basically continue, and the rest, and many, starting from 2011 actually, which are this cultural atmosphere started changing a bit financially and politically, many of the independents are closed or start doing something else. There are many associations, many initiatives. So it is kind of, it lost its richness since then. But on the contrary, these institutions became more power and more visibility and more kind of, they started the what culture is, or they started showing what art is, how art consumed, which art is, you need. So they started taking this role and become more and more powerful. And this is continuing, because it is even more difficult now to continue as an independent individual initiative or whatever, especially countries in Turkey. But in a longer time, maybe also in different, I changed the topic. I was talking about this Beyoğlu. There were 3 corporate institutions there, and just, this is they represent the culture of the city, basically. And yeah, so in this context, we also started working in the other fields. Bringing, beside opening platforms or trying to create platforms, also from art and technology, but also platforms for individual initiatives, all the artists, and the alternatives. So we still don't know, because we don't have the capacity that Kounaktif have, for example. We cannot initiate these crowds, and we didn't work like this, and we don't know how to do it. So I don't know what the next steps of actually amberPlatform in its local, beside continuing with amberFestival and related activities. I don't know, but our main role was kind of create the scene at the beginning of art and technology, and bring people together and open a platform. That was our role, and I don't know how it will change. If I could have replied your question.
Thank you very much, Ekmel. It was really insightful. Maybe a follow-up question on that. And this question, it goes to you, but it goes also to the other network nodes. When the political situation changes, and now we have this Corona situation that is pushing us into the virtual world, also meeting virtually. Does this also create a new freedom?
This actually, I believe, create new freedom, and also to access to new audience and different audiences. But this now it is much cheaper doing things in this field, bringing people together. But still, you have to be sustainable to kind of make people believe what you are doing and continuing with it, and with a program. Otherwise, you are doing 2-3 events and then get lost, and it decreases the kind of trustability of, or how do you say it? So it still needs. amberPlatform has only one people for 2 years and 1 people for 6-7 months paid. All the others were just members. And partly sometimes were project based, sometimes didn't, just for enjoyment. So in these 10 years and more, we had only 2 people worked in Amber. Full time. Sorry, I think I got tired and missed the beginning of missed your question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So Shahraban,
I think Amirali also wanted to say something. I would be really
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. Yes, Amirali.
Yes, I mean, I don't know if it's freedom or it's just more work. Because, okay, you are in your own context sometimes, you have your network, you know, I mean, there is language, etc. And then when you go beyond that, you have, because I mean, life is becoming also very difficult for artists, especially in these countries, because they even don't have those support that the government wants to pretend that they care about culture or they care about artists, etc. So in those situations, people sometimes they have to work 2 jobs, second job. Some of them are teachers, some of them are like also performing, executing things for other artists, or they have like jobs unrelated to art and culture to survive. These circumstances, I don't know, maybe it's more enjoyable for people who have some sort of support or have a better financial condition. Cannot be enjoyed by everybody. I can say that there is a gap here in who is providing, who is working, and who is enjoying being connected, and the others, they don't have any choice to go online. You know, there is a difference here that we need to address. But yes, there is a, I mean, this feeling of being together in a larger group of audience that you didn't have access, because it was like promoted that the presence to be together in one location was promoted before, but now it's changed into virtual togetherness, things like that. And it can be also, I mean, it's a little bit for some of us who have spent many years of our time also online. It might be a bit exhausting. For some people, it has its own, how to say it, it is exciting for them, and it's a new thing. But for some of us, I mean, it's nothing new, but that will work. So I don't know. I mean, we have to say, I mean, Ekmel was saying about who is being paid. I mean, unless if you are working on a project on a project which has a budget, which is not from Iran, nobody is paid. Everybody is like putting their passion, and then there is a risk of self-exploitation, that you exhaust yourself so much. So I mean, it depends. I mean, if you have a project which is paid, if you have a project which has a budget, if you have an international project, or if you don't, then you sometimes scale it down. And I understand when Ekmel was saying that, I mean, they had to do less and to make it minimize some of the project. I really feel that that was the strategy to survive somehow. And I had a conversation with our friend from Tunisia. She was, what was her first name? I forgot. Oh, sorry. With Wafa, yes, with Wafa Qasim. And she was saying, okay, scale down, don't do anything this year. But I mean, for those countries that there is already a kind of a funding horizon, I mean, that could be an answer. But also for us, I mean, also we have to take that advice, also not to take that advice, because I mean, there is nothing in the horizon. I don't want to talk very pessimistic and dark, but I mean, this is what we have and this is what we can do. And we don't know how long it can continue. Otherwise, I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah, I want to just add there, because you brought many good points. Yeah, it is cheap to produce something on the internet now, maybe like a Zoom talk, whatever. But it requires, most of the time it is not paid. And it requires people, I mean, we are working more since the lockdown. That is my feeling, because also we are not other times than sitting in front of the computer at home, we are feeling, and that's true, we are working more. That is one side of this digital work, actually. The second thing, although we are creating that many of, I mean, everybody is producing something digital, but this also comes back to interpassivity. Now, because we know that it is there, it can be reached, accessible anytime, we do it later, when we never do it. So at the beginning, I was trying to follow interesting talks, events online, but after a while, you are getting tired of it as well. And because it is also there, most of the time, you leave it, you postpone it, and it also gets kind of, you lost your interest on those things. And what Amirali said is very important, because when we were, before the lockdown, there were physical life and the projects. But when the project's there, artists are supported somehow. Not necessarily state funding, but there were running projects. But when the physical project is finished, nobody's replaced those with the online projects or something. So those artists are jobless, basically, because there is no project. But life is continuing. Although at home, it is still, the costs are not less. So this changed, also the support situation changed for the art scene. So this digital existence brought also those side effects.
Thank you very much, Ekmel. And I guess now Shahraban is also here and ready.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, everybody, and thank you for the questions and comments. Shahraban? Hi, Shahraban. Okay. So you are ready. You can share your screen if you like. And you can unmute yourself, please. You are muted. You are muted.
Here.
Yes, now okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then now I can show my screen, right?
Yes. Are you gonna share your screen?
Yes.
Okay. Just next to the camera icon, there is screen share on the bottom, at the bottom.
Here, you mean?
Yeah, next to webcam icon, there is another icon.
I don't know how. Like this?
Hmm?
You see? Did you see?
No.
You see, yes?
No, we don't. Just click.
Sometimes it takes a few seconds until it actually works.
Okay, how I can go? I write share, but he not share. Okay, now again, maybe again try.
I will show you the screen I have, and maybe we can look.
Moment. Okay, where I need to look?
I will try to show you from my.
You mean here? I need to do.
No, I'm sending you as WhatsApp message.
Okay. WhatsApp message?
Yeah, just check that message. Right, there are four buttons, 4 icons at the bottom, right?
You mean here?
No, just to look at the message I sent you.
this is screening of your.
Yeah, there is. Oh, this is too. Look, there are 4 buttons at the bottom. There are 4 icons, and this. Yeah. The last one is to share the screen. Sharbek?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. And
You are
now
moderator and you are now presenter. Look at the bottom next to the camera. There is one more button there. One more icon. Microphone.
you
audio,
mean my full screening?
Share webcam, and then there is one more.
I will call you to WhatsApp and can show.
Okay, just this one.
You mean you look which this?
Okay, here you are.
So Bishkek Art was created 2007. We did a lot of projects, of course, with our mission, history, and then here down you can, if you click, for example, projects, they have art projects and social projects. We was working in social project like children, a lot of places was in the Bishkek Art Center was from 2000 activity, performance, exchange projects, many different sectors with homeless children also. If you can see, you can click Bishkek Art. There are a lot of, this is our exhibition This is our Bishkek art. This is big, and we make different also public art and a lot of also activity. But then from 2007 and from 2011, I closed this project, Bishkek Art Center, and you can see nomadic art camp, and this is nomadic art camp. Also was yes, and what is making now because of coronavirus this year not was. Yeah. But in the future, maybe it will be possible because this is a lot of work, and also you 2011 when I started this project, also invite artists from Turkey and from other countries, and Ekmel was one of 2011. We make nomadic art camp. We make a festival, film festival. But then later, every year we make project. I invite curators and also start include. And so if you can see on the home, there are some video, very short video. Maybe you can show. Is showing or not?
Yeah, I'm showing. Can you see it?
Not. I didn't see.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
So, and this is a project which is still continuing because they focus mostly for nature art and the diversity, ecological diversity. And this is project which is taking mostly 1 year preparation always. And I only now concentrate on this kind of one project because before was a lot of symposiums, exchange project, art residency, and it was focus only now for this project where I invite many artists. In different countries. So this is what I am doing in what is Bishkek are doing now. We one time 1 year. Oh. Ekmel?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, one portfolio maybe you can show because of there a lot of picture also. You can do?
Yeah.
Just moment. Oh, this is too big file, he said. This too.
WhatsApp. You can send it by mail. But if it is the same images, we have
You have a book.
Yeah.
You can open book and then you 2011 maybe. When was start this project and where you also was.
Mm.
And Ekmel was a jury with 3 other artists for the video festival. And they was presented by Turkish video, French video, from Central Asia video was presented. It was nice, nice video works of different artists. And till 2017, after nomadic art camp was always exhibition in the National Museum, but from 2018 we stopped exhibition because of difficult was with the financing project. And this is now only concentrate for nomadic art camp because there also time for people create some new works in collaboration also or independent separately. And there in mountain there are no internet, no telephone working good, and no television, nothing, only nature, and people living in yurt, and they eating only nomadic food, which is fresh always. Yes, and everybody anyway was happy. You show this catalog?
Yes, 2011. Yes, I showed you.
No, 2011.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Have you finished? Do you?
Yes, I think I finished. Yes, because I not feel good today. Yes, and
Okay, I'm stopping. Share. Okay, Shahraban, thank you. And
okay, thank you, Ekmel.
Okay, any question to Shahraban?
I just wanted to thank you, Shahraban, for sharing, and I will go and check your website, and I will write you directly.
Well, if you have some question, or you can write me anytime.
Yes,
I
that's
will
right. Because you said you are not
tomorrow.
today. I want to. I will write my question to you.
Yes, please,
Okay,
because
thank you very much.
tomorrow I will be better feeling.
Yes, yes. Cool.
Okay, then.
I'm also happy in collaboration, of course, with new people, with Amber Network, and with new people also who have this time together with Amber Festival.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Shahraban.
Thank you.
And thank you to all presenters and all the participants. I think we'll continue with presentations tomorrow, same time at 4 in this room. And if there is no other comment, we can close the session.